sometimes find myself thinking, who is the most important person in a Formula 1 team? The engineers are crucial as they build the car, the finance guys keep the team safe from financial penalties, most of the time, and the drivers are important for delivering raw performance on track, as well as hundreds of other roles that all go into making a well-run Formula 1 team. There's one role that transcends all others, the team principal. And well, this got me thinking. We all know the drivers earn millions of dollars. I've covered that in previous videos, but I'm interested to see how much the team principals actually earn in comparison. Because after all, team principals make the difference between a title-winning team and a podium finisher. And well, once I looked into it, I was shocked by how much they earn, with one team principal earning more than 17 of the 20 drivers on the grid. Now, for those newer fans that are unsure about what a team principal is, it is essentially the leader, manager, the coach of a Formula 1 team who covers all operations. The team principal is where the buck stops, and so they are the first ones responsible when the team starts to underperform. When that happens, there's usually only one scenario, as we saw with Mattia Binotto and Ferrari very recently. The team principal basically manages the driver contract negotiations, oversees the team finances, hires and fires staff, and is the face of the team in the media and for sponsors or partners, as well as a few other tasks. However, the specific role they play varies depending on the team and team principal. In most cases, they act as an overseer and leader of the race team, carrying out general tasks without loads of power over fundamental decisions. Now, this is because the majority of team principals don't hold ownership in the F1 team. One example of this is Christian Horner at Red Bull. But on the other side, you have team principals that are more integrated with the management and ownership of the team, and therefore have much more influence over decision making. One example of this is Toto Wolff, who owns a third of the Mercedes F1 team. Okay, so that's a little introduction into what a team principal actually is. Now let me explain how they are paid by the team. And well, in regards to the 2023 group of team principals, there are 3 ways they make money: through a salary, getting bonuses, and acquiring shares. Firstly, the most simple is the basic salary. All 10-ish team principals receive a salary, and that is a lump sum of money paid by the team to the team principal, exactly the same as with the drivers. Now, this payment may come either annually or monthly and can change year on year depending on the contract and performance of the team. However, as part of the budget cap brought in 2021, only 3 team members of the team, excluding the drivers, can be paid as much as the team likes. But it's assumed that all team principals are included as one of these 3 members. Next up, team principals receive bonuses, which is actually an additional amount on top of a salary given by the team to the team principal that is dependent on the performance of the team. Also, the specific bonuses are unique to each team principal and are decided by the team when agreeing on a new contract. However, usually bonuses are given when a team gets points, podiums, wins, or championships, depending on where the team is in the standings, and to what extent each of these achievements are attainable. For example, from the 2021 season, Mercedes boss Toto Wolff earned $15.6 million from bonuses alone, through his $200,000 podium bonus, of which they scored 28 podiums, and a $10 million championship bonus. And finally, team principals can earn money through having shares in the team. This could either be by getting paid by the team in shares, or buying shares in the team and making money from the increase in share price. This is common in the world of business, but not so much Formula 1. And basically this means the team principal is more incentivized to have the team achieve, as he will earn more money from the increased value in those shares. Now, as I previously mentioned, Toto Wolff owns 33.3% of the Mercedes F1 team through simply purchasing those shares. So technically, Toto Wolff earns money through a salary, bonuses, and his shareholding. You might be catching on as to who is the highest paid. Right, so now we have some understanding of what team principals are and how they get paid. So let's get into the numbers. Just a quick disclaimer, due to the unreliability of bonus amounts for each team principal, I will be only including their salary. Okay, so let's dive straight in with the newest team principal on the grid, Williams' James Vowles. Now, due to his very recent appointment on January 13th, we have not seen any reliable figures in regards to his salary. However, his predecessor Jos Capito was paid $1 million, so we can assume that Vowles is paid in a similar region to that. As mentioned, he was recently appointed team principal of Williams for the 2023 season, having come from Mercedes where he was head of strategy. I'm sure many of you know who he is through this iconic radio message.
Boundary, it's James. Please abort the fastest lap attempt for the inner lap.
James, it's one thing. Fuck you.
Now, this is actually a very big change for Vowles, having been at the Mercedes team since 2010. So this is the first new environment James has seen for a while. Next up, we've got AlphaTauri's Franz Tost. Known as the team principal Lewis Hamilton forgot existed, he earns $1 million every year from the Faenza-based outfit. Now, Franz Tost has actually been team principal at the team for 17 years since November 2005, and I see no reason why he'd be leaving anytime soon. And well, Franz has done a good job at keeping everything stable while being able to jab at the top teams every now and then. Onto the Haas F1 team, and of course it's everyone's favourite angry man, Günther Steiner. Despite enduring several Fox smash doors, he also receives a salary of $1 million. Now, Günther joined the Haas outfit in 2014 before the team first entered Formula 1 in 2016, meaning he's been in the role for 7 years, but it seems like Haas have never been able to remain consistently at the top of that midfield. I do feel as much as he's great TV, Günther's got to go. This next man is hands down the most unfortunately named man in world sport, Aston Martin's Mike Crack. And despite sharing a name with prank callers, he's also paid $1 million. Now, Mike hasn't actually been around very long, only 1 year to be exact, following his appointment in January 2022, following the departure of Otmar Zafnauer to Alpine. And well, 1 year later into his tenure, he's hardly transformed the team as of yet. Now, this next one takes a bit of explaining because they don't actually have a team principal. I'm referring to Alfa Romeo Sauber. Basically, after Fred Vasseur left to go to Ferrari, they brought in Andreas Seidel, not as team principal, but as CEO. So in the case of this video, I'm just going to include Seidel's salary, which is $7.6 million. Now, Seidel, as mentioned, was appointed CEO of Sauber following the chaos of the team principal silly season, and with Audi soon teaming up with Sauber, this could seriously be a team to keep an eye on. Next up is probably the least known man out of all team principals. It's McLaren's Andreas Stella, and he's paid a cool $7.6 million. With Andreas Seidel leaving McLaren, the team from Woking decided to promote Andreas Stella to the team principal role. And well, he's got a great understanding of McLaren's inner workings and what it takes to become a title contender once again. But I guess time will tell whether he has what it takes with the top job. Next up is the familiar face of Alpine's Otmar Zafnauer, having been a team principal in F1 since 2009. Despite his experience, he's actually only paid $1 million per season by the French team, who finished 4th in the standings last year. Well, Otmar joined Alpine having been poached from rivals Aston Martin in January 2022. And well, based on Otmar's time at Alpine so far, he's taken them from 120 points behind McLaren in 2021 to 14 points ahead in 2022. It's hard to disagree, he should be compensated better. Now we find ourselves with the big three, and starting with Mercedes, we have Toto Wolff. Now, this new member of Formula One's top brass reportedly earns $17.4 million as a salary. Now, Toto has been Mercedes team principal for 10 years, being appointed in 2013 after leaving Williams, and his current contract runs out at the end of 2023. However, he has shown eagerness to continue for much longer. As always, I guess we'll have to see if he puts pen to paper over the next season. Now, the interesting thing about Toto is he's the only team principal that didn't originally come from motorsport as a team owner or engineer. Toto's background is instead in banking and finance. Now, I won't go into the details, but I made a whole video about Toto's life story, so give that a watch. Second to last is the legendary Ferrari team and their new team principal, Frederic Vasseur. And well, arguably the most light team boss on the grid is paid the same as Andreas Stella and Andreas Seidel at $7.6 million. As we all know by now, Vasseur was appointed team principal for 2023 following the departure of Mattia Binotto after a disappointing 2022 season. And Vasseur's credentials are pretty impressive, having led the Alfa Romeo team from last in 2017 to 6th in 2022, proving that he has what it takes to lead the Ferrari team forward. And so, depending on how well he does, he may or may not get a contract extension for the 2023 season. And finally, Formula One's most opinionated team principal. It's Red Bull's Christian Horner. Well, the man that divides Formula One fans in two earns around $10 million a year. And funnily enough, he's the longest serving team principal, having been at Red Bull for 18 years since January 2005, and is set to remain for at least another 4 years until the end of 2026. And well, Christian's background, similar to Toto's, originates away from Formula One. Horner was headhunted for the Red Bull role from when he started his own junior team, Arden International, and enjoyed some incredible success. Now, also much like Toto, I made a video all about the life of Christian Horner as well, so make sure to check that out too, as it is quite the story. So those are all the Formula 1 team principal salaries, and you've got to agree the most underpaid on this list has got to be Otmar Zafnauer after everything he has done for Alpine in just one season. Maybe a pay rise is due very soon. But these numbers alone don't really tell us much about the value of team principals compared to other team members, such as the drivers. So in that spirit, let's compare the salaries of Formula 1's team principals against the drivers they manage. And well, it looks a little like this. The average team principal salary based on this list is $5.52 million per year, compared to the drivers, which is pretty much double at $11 million a year. The highest paid driver and highest paid team boss follows a similar pattern, with Lewis Hamilton earning more than double that of Toto at $48 million annually. However, the lower bracket of salaries is a bit more similar, with Yuki being the lowest paid driver on $750,000 compared to $1 million for the lowest paid team principals. So on average, Formula 1 drivers are paid more than their team principals, but why is that? You would naturally think the team principal would be paid more, not just because they are literally the driver's bosses, but they are also arguably more important for the team, as they are the ones that oversee staff and resources to build a strong and competitive car. However, the reason is quite simple. Not only are drivers crucial to the performance of the team, as they are the ones to deliver on the team's hard work, but they also bring in millions of dollars to the team through sponsors, marketing, and promotions. That is obviously something the team principals cannot offer. However, we could see the salary gap between drivers and their team bosses closing very soon, with the driver's salary cap being pushed very hard by the team principals. Right, so that is how much the 10 team bosses earn every year. Did any of them surprise you, or are they pretty expected? I'd say the main thing that surprised me was the difference between the highest earner and lowest earner, $16.4 million to be exact. But nonetheless, an average salary of $5.52 million is a serious amount of money, and does truly reflect how important they are to the teams, even though it's not as much as the drivers. Thanks for watching. Let me know if these numbers surprised you in the comments section below, and as always, make sure to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell to be reminded of any new videos.